Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Come out, step into the light. My name is Alushka.
My name is Tuân.
Why do you always have to be so shy, Tuân? You make me feel like I have to take over the show.
I'm not shy. I just can see that you have so much like energy.
So what are we talking about today, huh?
Another guest and the stories.
You know anything about them yet?
A really hot guy from London.
Hot guy from London. Ooh. Okay, so let's introduce our guest.
Hey. Hi.
Hi, hot guy from London.
Thanks, that's my official title from now on. I'm changing my name tomorrow.
Can you introduce yourself to the audiences?
Yeah, so I'm Gavin, I'm 30, I'm from London, from England. I teach English online and then organise LGBT events around Saigon. Yeah, is that enough for an introduction?
Very busy guy, right?
Yeah, that's why I always look so tired.
Oh, no, you don't look a bit tired and you look young, very young.
Thank you, it's the makeup.
I like him, he's sassy.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Vietnam?
I came to Vietnam just at the beginning of 2016.
Why did you choose Vietnam to stay?
Well, I was living in Thailand before Vietnam, and then I came on holiday to Vietnam to just sort of see what it was like. And I liked it while I was on holiday here, so I thought, why not just sort of come and work and live here for a little bit? And then the days kind of rolled into months and then rolled into years, and then here we are.
A little bit wasn't a little bit anymore, right?
No.
Okay, anything particular that you really like about Vietnam?
The voice. The voice.
Oh,
The
okay.
food's good too.
While we're on the boy topic, do you have any particular boys in your life at the moment, or a type of guy that you like, or something like that?
Aside from Tuân, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have that's so red. I don't really have a type. Just kind of someone who's nice, friendly, could make me laugh, it's funny. If they're hot, that's a bonus as well. If they're rich and successful, also a bonus.
Okay, so are you rich?
Billionaire? No, I'm so poor.
But look at that watch.
Back to the story of Gavin. What have you experienced in Saigon?
Like Vietnamese food is pretty good. Vietnamese boys are better. A generational difference, I think, like between kind of like millennials and sort of a bit under. They're like much more open towards sort of like the idea of being gay or going towards any kind of alternative spectrum, compared to sort of like older guys tend to be much more kind of closeted and like discreet only on Grindr, you know?
Don't show it on Facebook, please.
Yeah, just like a topless, a headless torso.
How is your life in Saigon? Is it good?
I think, yeah, it's easy to meet people here. A lot of opportunities, and just sort of, if you're willing to like throw the dice and try, I think there's a lot of stuff that you can sort of achieve and do in Saigon.
I feel that a lot about Saigon. If you're really willing to put yourself out, it's a city where you can really make yourself.
Easy for you to get a job here?
I teach English, but I do it online, so I can kind of live anywhere. I'm just sort of working remotely. You know?
Have you been teaching in a school compared to online?
I taught in a school for the first kind of 6 months that I was in Vietnam, and then the time I was in China and Thailand, I worked at a school there. But yeah, like online is much better, and I think that's kind of the future.
Have you made any like cool friends here in Saigon?
A lot of interesting people in Saigon, interesting characters, you know. So I've really enjoyed getting to know a lot of the people that I have through organising events, and the people that I've sort of come into contact and been working with through doing that as well.
And it makes you like more happy. I want you to stop being so humble and tell me, what is the real thing that you are doing in Vietnam?
So I organise LGBT events. I started in 2017, organising a drag show with music, and then from then we've done some parties where it was just based on music. We're called Full Disclosure. Full Disclosure is about laying everything on the line and not hiding anything, being completely open. So the idea is you come into this space and you come to these parties and like just be yourself. Don't hide anything.
Okay, so I just want to ask about your childhood.
Growing up, I think it was quite a dysfunctional environment. It was difficult growing up for me, I think, because there was a lot of issues with kind of like alcoholism. Like my dad was never a part of my life. My mum and my stepdad, kind of not a very positive environment to grow up in, where there was...
You're not supposed to be in that.
No. But you find a way to just kind of cope with it and deal with it, and then look at your surroundings, see that like if this is the environment that you're in, then you kind of have a choice sort of moving forward where you accept that that is your life. Make sure that you're not in that kind of situation or those surroundings in the future.
Would you say that any of those things rubbed onto you, like on any of those bad behaviors of your mom or your stepfather or anything that you were growing up as a child? Did it rub off onto you? Did you have to like go through some difficult shedding experiences to actually get rid of your bad childhood?
Some parts of my personality that are probably affected by those. I had some difficult times around sort of the teenage years that were dealing with sort of like depression and a lot of negative feelings through sort of like the environment, and sort of feeling that there wasn't really this is life. It's the point in sort of going on and continuing and living when like this is all that life is.
Oh, you have a very bad view of life, right?
Dealing with sort of like depression, I attempted sort of when I was a teenager, and then from then I was made to go into therapy. From that onwards, it kind of completely changed my way of thinking. Much more like optimistic and positive person.
How old were you then?
I think 16. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In my culture, if we go to see a psychologist or something, it's a little bit like seen as there's something very wrong with you or you're weak or something like that. Did you ever feel that?
It wasn't something that I kind of spoke about with people, because I think there is still, if you are dealing with maybe like mental health issues or no matter where it falls, you know, depression, anxiety, manicness, anything like that, like to verbalize it and say it out loud, it becomes kind of, makes people feel a bit awkward, I think, at least in the UK.
Don't know how to deal with stuff, right?
Yeah, then it makes people feel like less alone, and realizing that like, if we all just kind of like keep it inside, then we all just feel like we're the crazy one. But we're all a little bit crazy. If we just kind of talk about it and be like, hey, like, I'm a bit crazy, and the other person will probably be like, oh yeah, like me too. Like, well, let's be friends. Do you know what I mean? Like,
You feel crazy?
No.
Really?
in denial.
What would you say is the craziest thing about you?
I haven't done any crazy thing in my life. I'm still on my comfort zone. I never get out of that.
So do you ever want to be crazy?
Yeah, sometimes I want to try, but I have no chance to try it.
I'll give you my number after.
Okay, you had to grow up in a difficult situation. Do you remember the worst memory of that?
After a lot of the fights that would go on in the house, just kind of coming down the next day in the morning, and the house is in with kind of like things smashed and things everywhere. Like some of those memories kind of stick with me. But
I can see you are so confident now. And I just want to ask you that, what was your real personality when you was a kid?
thank you for saying I'm confident, because I don't feel it. Dealing with kind of like a home life that wasn't perfect, I think I was a bit not the friendliest, and kind of
Snappy.
a little bit, being a bit too kind of rough with words, a little bit, I think.
Straight to the point.
I still kind of have that now. I kind of like compliment sandwich, you know, like compliment, honesty, compliment.
So when did you realize that you were different from the other boys?
Maybe around like 13 or 14. I remember watching like, you know, WWF, the wrestling.
Yes.
You see the guy and?
Yeah, they wore a lot of like revealing outfits, just underwear, you know what I mean?
I always wonder, how does the underband stay on? Like, you're wrestling and you're doing all these crazy moves in wrestling, but the underbands doesn't get a wedgie.
You wait people to put it down?
I'm waiting, yes, I'm excited.
Yeah, I kind of was like, oh, I like that.
At that time, you decided to hide yourself, or you want to share it to your friends or family?
I was kind of still figuring stuff out, because it wasn't a swing. I think it was more about like connection and more like feeling comfortable with these people rather than wanting to sleep with them.
Found something that you really liked in them, but it didn't mean that you were actually attracted to the sex.
Yeah, and then it wasn't until kind of college, but like in the UK, college is like 16 to 18, and then you do like university after 18. So as at college, you have a bit more freedom. They're more open, like explore more of those options, and then go to kind of like gay clubs.
Oh, I'm just curious that you had to grow up in like difficult situation, and have you ever think about doing bad things to yourself?
What kind of bad things?
Like they hurt themselves.
It was a coping mechanism when I was kind of a teenager. My perspective on a lot of things changed after I tried to commit, because it was then in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, looking down at my arms with a load of cut marks on them, with a belly full of paracetamol. Kind of when you're sat in that sort of sobering environment and they're asking you these questions and kind of like looking at your arms and being like, well, how long have you been doing this? And those kind of questions, it's really, really like sobering and kind of gives a bit of perspective, like a very, very like solitary experience. It's kind of like coping mechanisms, a physical expression of an emotional pain.
After that like intense event, did you just immediately stop, or what happened after that?
For me, that was like a massive turning point in my life. From that experience, I wasn't self-harming anymore. Changing my way of thinking.
Oh, when you really identify yourself, your real gender?
I don't have any issues with my gender identity. My sexuality, I became more open when I went to university, because I moved away from London and to Southampton, and it was much easier in a completely new environment where you don't know anyone. Being an adult for the first time, moving away. I've been like kind of financially independent since I was about 16 anyway.